one thing that I want you to understand about wealthy people is that we weren't born wealthy. All right. Now, the major difference between the wealthy, the middle class, and the poor, a lower class is how they choose to relate with money, what they do with their money. And that's why I'm going to share with you the major difference between the rich and the poor. And when I talk about the poor, I'm really categorizing the poor and middle class, and you'll understand why in a second. Now, the people who are identified in the poor class are people who are low income earners. All right. And when you're earning a low income, it simply means that you are not offering enough value in the marketplace in exchange for a higher premium. Okay. That's all that simply means. Now, the problem here is that people who are in the poor class have what I call a spending mentality, meaning that as the money touches their hand, the first thing that either comes to their mind is, what can I spend this money on? You know, these are the people who like to go out to drink every Friday. They like to go to happy hours. When they get their money, they're always bill conscious. I got to pay my bills, right? So in other words, they are living paycheck to paycheck to pay bills and always, robbing Peter to pay Paul. You can never be wealthy if you have what I call a spending mentality. Okay, very dangerous place to be. You can be here now, but you don't have to be here forever. Okay. The second category, people who are identified as middle class. These are people who are identified as average income earners. All right. So yeah, you might make 80,000, 6 figures, 150,000, but that does not mean you're rich. It does not mean you're wealthy either. It just means you make a lot of money. The problem with middle class folk is that they save money, which is good, but nobody ever became wealthy from saving money. All right. The second problem is they use debt to fund their lifestyle. So what do I mean? Someone who's earning 6 figures can say, hey, you know what? I'm making pretty good money. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out and buy a car, worth $70,000. You know what? I can afford it because I got a good paying job. Well, you better hope that you keep that job for a long time, because the problem is that once you start to accumulate all these debt, residual debt that you pay for every month, and you lose your job, now you even become more poorer because you've lost the source of income. Now you still have all these liabilities. And I meet people all the time because they got 2 to 3 jobs, making multiple 6 figures. They feel like they're doing all right. You're doing all right because you have a job. I recently was talking to a buddy of mine, and one of his buddies had 3 6-figure paying jobs, and in one day lost all 3. Right? Your life can change drastically. So if you have a lifestyle that's only being sustained by your income, right, you are in big trouble. So you got to start changing some things very quickly. Now, the third category of people are the wealthy class. All right. So what do we do with our money? All right. What do we do with our money to help us become more wealthy? And here's the game plan. We are high income earners. High income mainly because we are offering massive value in the marketplace. Right. See, money is nothing than exchanging, your currency for value. So if I'm offering you something for $50,000, you would give me $50,000 because it's worth $50,000 to you. That's how wealthy people, become more wealthier, because they're offering more value. But here's the catch though. What do wealthy people do with their money? Number one, they leverage. Wealthy people understand the importance of leverage. We leverage other people's money. We leverage other people's time. We leverage other people's energy, other people's resources. You know why? Because leverage leads to creating assets. So I give you an example. So here we have the middle class person who has, let's say, we talk about debt. Let's say they have a $10,000 credit card. They use to fund their lifestyle, Gucci bags, Prada, etc. Here we also have somebody who has, in the wealthy class, has a $10,000 credit card. But guess what they do? They take that $10,000 and look for something that they can invest in to actually produce more money. They look for something that they can buy to yield more money, and then use the profit from that to now fund their lifestyle, not the principal, right? Not the principal, because the principal got to keep producing more babies. All right. It has to continue to produce more babies. So you got to understand that concept that if you're going to be wealthy, your goal is to understand how powerful leverage is, because leverage is everything. We live in a capitalist society. All right. So right now, I'm hoping that you've been able to identify where you are. All right. If you're in the poor class because you're of low income, that simply means that you got to increase your value proposition. And number two, you have to stop spending on liabilities. All right. Don't join the middle class and then use, your resources to fund lifestyle. Right. You want to move straight to the wealthy class and start thinking about, how can I use my resources to not invest in income producing assets? And if you're middle class and you got a good paying job, you better thank God that you still have that job. Now you need to be more wiser with your money because anything can happen these days. All right. Anything can happen. So you don't want to be, you don't want to be stuck when things, hit the fan. So make sure that you're planning accordingly, reduce your lifestyle. All right. It's good to save, but now start thinking, how can I leverage my savings? How can I leverage, my line of credit, my credit cards to now invest in income producing assets? And this is how you win financially.